Cvta meeting. This is official call to order. And so we welcome each one of you here. Let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Maximo to lead us, I guess, to a certified quorum, I guess.
I'll take attendance. Town of Ashland, Mr. Trivett.
Present.
Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
I am on here remotely.
Thank you. Goochland County, Mr. Winfrey.
Here.
Hanover County, Mr. Davis. Mr. Hudson.
Present.
Henrico County, Chair Nelson.
Present.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer. Powhatan County, Mr. Donati.
Here.
City of Richmond, Maravula.
Here.
Virginia House of Delegates, Ms. Cousins. Senate of Virginia, Ms. Hashmi. Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Present.
Capital Region Airport Commission, Mr. Miller. Mr. Rutledge.
Present.
GRTC, Ms. Adams.
Here.
RMTA, Ms. Dean. Ms. Marshall. DRPT, Ms. Zimmerman. Present. VDOT, Mr. Bridge. Mr. Totten. Virginia Port Authority, Mr. Edwards.
Mr. Ridley here for VDOT on Mr. Totten and Mr. Birch's behalf.
Thank you. Virginia Port Authority, Mr. Edwards. Ms. Nelson. And we do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We do have a request for remote participation from one of our members. Personal matter, Mr. Carroll has requested to participate remotely. And so I'm fine with it. Can we get a motion to allow Mr. Carroll to participate remotely?
So moved. Second.
All right, moving second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Ms. Zimmerman, thank you for being with us today. And new director of DRPT, so we're excited about you being with us.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
It's great to be here. I should also mention I live in Henrico County.
That's an added bonus. Approval of the Cvta. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Carroll, are you there?
I am here, sir.
right,
Thank
good
you for
morning to you.
allowing me to participate remotely.
Yes, sir. Ms. Dean is here too. All right. Approval of the Cvta meeting minutes from October 24th. Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, consideration of amendments to the agenda. Now, I do have something I want to bring up for discussion. I don't know if I would call it a consideration for amendment. So I'll bring it up under member comments at the end. All right. Any other consideration of amendments? I ain't hearing none. Now, can we get approval of the meeting minutes?
Motion.
Second.
All right, moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is now,
I am an aye.
okay, oh, thank you, sir. Open public comment period. Is there anyone here to speak from the public today? Yes, sir, let's start. Yep, come on up.
Hi, Cvta. I'm Richard Hankins with the Partnership for Smarter Growth. We're a nonpartisan nonprofit educating and advocating for Richmond region that plants sustainably, grows inclusively, and connects communities. We believe that everyone in the region deserves safe and healthy options for how they get around, whether by bus, car, walking, or biking. However, we've been concerned to find that less than 1/3 of the proposed regional funding for FY27 through FY32 is allocated to those multimodal options like bus, ped, and bike. We know many of you in this room have shown great leadership and initiative over the past several years to ensure projects like the Fall Line Trail and other bus routes have been able to come to fruition. Championing bike, ped, and transit infrastructure projects allows our region to be healthier and more economically sustainable. As such, we would like to see an increase in proportion of funding for those types of projects. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for being with us.
Hello, I'm Jacob Sherrod. I'm the community coordinator with Strong Towns RVA. We're a local organization dedicated to, among other things, ensuring that our region is a safe, people-oriented place and that residents of our region can access low-cost, again, safe transportation options in a way that's fiscally sustainable. To us, that means that it's important that people across our region have a plethora of transportation options. That includes biking, to walking, to transit, to cars. These transportation options need to be safe for all users, and it's deeply important that these things are provided in a way that doesn't break the bank. I'm here today. We want the CVTA to ensure that funding is shared more equitably across modes rather than being focused solely on highways. Doing this will ensure that there's increased safety, reduce sprawl, and make sure that highways and other things, or ensure that our transportation system can pay for itself. We've done some great work in the region. We've done the Fall Line Trail. We've done lots of work with great streetscape improvements, and we've done a lot of great work with transit. So I want to make sure that we continue to accelerate that work as opposed to funding highway goals. So this is an absolutely wonderful example of regional collaboration, but for it to reach its full potential, funding formulas, I think, need to be adjusted so that no one transportation mode is artificially biased over another.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Jeremy Latimer. I'm with the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority. I'm here to speak in support of the Virginia Passenger Rail Authority's application for $15 million in regional Cvta fund. This is for a train servicing facility, a passenger train servicing facility in CSX's existing Fulton Yard in Eastern Henrico, just off of Route 5, Osborne Turnpike. This is vital to expanding and enhancing passenger rail in Central Virginia. So the trains that would be served at this facility would increase the service at Richmond's Main Street Station from today's 6 daily round trips up to 16 daily round trips. And those trains would continue on to Staples Mill Station and through Ashland into the Northeast Corridor. So it's not just about expanding the capacity, which we are currently under construction to do in the most congested areas up in Northern Virginia, but this would also house Amtrak's new Aero trains, which are currently in production. And the first ones are out for testing on the Northeast Corridor, and we should start to see some of the trains coming through Virginia in 2027. But this facility, Amtrak has committed $30 million in support of accommodating those new trains. So I thank you for the opportunity. Just wanted to reiterate that this is truly a regional project, but is necessary in order to accommodate the growth that we're building for up in Northern Virginia and for housing the modern trains that would serve the Richmond region. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one online.
One online. All right. We are now ready for the online public comment. I think there's one person hand up. I think this is Kevin.
Hi, yes. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Good morning, board members. My name is Kevin Cianfarini. I'm a resident of Richmond City and a constituent of the 79th House of Delegates District. I'm also a co-lead with Climate Change Makers RVA. We are a volunteer organization dedicated towards advocating for climate solutions in the greater Richmond region. Transportation currently accounts for roughly 50% of Virginia's climate pollution, and the large majority of this pollution is the result of a transportation system that provides few mobility opportunities outside of single occupancy vehicles. As an organization, Climate Change Makers supports expanding multimodal transportation options for Central Virginians so that we don't need to use a car for every trip we make. We believe that Central Virginia is at a pivotal crossroads. More people are moving here, and I fear that the CVTA is making some of the same funding choices that the Washington Metro Area Transit Authority made, which transformed NOVA into a large, sprawling network of persistently congested highways. Since its creation in 2020, the CVTA has allocated roughly 75%, or $539 of $720 million of its regional funds towards increased highway capacity. Research has repeatedly proven that, because of induced demand, it is impossible to build our way out of highway congestion. As an organization, we're excited to work with the members of this board to provide funding opportunities that expand non-car transportation options and prevent Central Virginia from building the same traffic-choked highways that we see and lament in NOVA. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I appreciate all of you being here with us this morning and sharing. I am going to forego chairman's report and jump to executive director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things to bring to your attention today. This is a packed agenda, and I just wanted to kind of provide some introductions to make sure we're moving things forward efficiently. The one information item that I would like to share is that on page 12 of your packet is a copy of a letter of support that CVTA provided to the city of Richmond in regards to a build grant application for the Mayo Bridge. As you all know, CVTA has leveraged $5 million in regional funding towards this project, and I think we all want to see it move forward as soon as possible, and hopefully this build grant application will prove to be successful, and we can see the bridge advance. The other thing I wanted to share is that, as you can see under new business, there are a couple of action items, but there's also a number of information items. This is all essentially following our roadmap that the CVTA adopted about a year ago for round 4 regional funding. We have a process that we are following, and we're leading towards a public hearing and potential action next month at our February 27th meeting. The two action items today are kind of setting the table for that decision-making process. One is to look at the revenue estimates that have been provided by the state and to accept those revenue estimates. The second is to set a date, official date for the public hearing, which would be February 27th. The other items under new business are reviews of the project scoring and all of the details that have been in the works for roughly 6 months now. These are through the direct interaction with our TAC and our finance committee. So following that process towards our pending approval date later in February. There are a couple items that are still in play, and I think part of the discussion today is going to be potentially about unallocated funds and the process by which the authority decides the best uses of those funds. I think that is something that is currently still in development. The TAC has developed a set of options. There are other options, at least one other option that's being discussed now. My recommendation, if it gets to that point today, is for TAC and Finance Committee to be given that right to review those options again at their February meetings. That still allows plenty of time for review and consideration for the decision point at the end of the month with this authority. So, Mr. Chair, that's just a brief review of the new business items, and obviously we'll probably have further discussion as we get to each one.
All right, thank you, sir. I just want to add to Chet's report that there is a fifth option that localities are some have already, others may not have seen it, are discussing, and so we are going to ask that that be added into the rotation and be talked about in TAC. So Chet just mentioned that, so I just wanted to make sure to double down on that conversation. New business, off-cycle funding requests. Page 13, it looks like.
Yes, sir. This has been an item that has been taken through both TAC and Finance Committee multiple times. Page 13 is the staff report, which essentially provides a summary of how we got to the decision point today. Cvta received a request from the city of Richmond for consideration of an off-cycle request for regional funds. This is something that is outlined in our project allocation framework. That's that process. There's 5 steps that are listed in the staff report. TAC and Finance Committee both recommended at their October meetings that the authority formally direct TAC to consider the request through the adopted evaluation process. TAC did get that green light and had the responsibility to work through the first 4 steps. Those 4 steps and their results are included in the staff report. And the city fully cooperated and provided all of the information requested by the TAC in a timely manner to make sure that all of the project details were on the table for consideration. TAC thoughtfully considered the funding requests at its December 8th meeting, along with potential funding sources, and voted unanimously to recommend the authority support the off-cycle City of Richmond request. Along with that recommendation was for the Cvta to support 80% of the project cost using Cvta interest income, and then have the City of Richmond source the remaining 20% of project cost. That 80% that would be on the Cvta side equals roughly $10.4 million. In addition, the TAC recommended that the city forfeit their wildcard slot. That's part of the framework that we discussed during the next round of regional funding evaluation in 2 years. The Finance Committee did meet on the December 10th and concurred with that recommendation. So the requested action today is for the Cvta to approve the off-cycle City of Richmond Diamond District project request, supporting 80% of the project cost using Cvta interest income in the amount of $10,369,508. In addition, the City of Richmond will forfeit their wildcard slot during round 5 project evaluation.
Mr. Mayor, you have anything you want to add?
We have identified the other 20% to fill that gap from our Economic Development Authority. So if this goes through, we're prepared to jump in and get the diamond moving. I would be very grateful for your support.
Anybody have any other questions for Chad, TAC, or just any questions, period?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I know we voted on an off-cycle request in the fall. How often are we typically receiving off-cycle requests?
At this point, this is the first off-cycle request that we've received. So typically, I mean, the timing in terms of when the construction is scheduled facilitated the need for the off-cycle request. Otherwise, we would include something like this in our regular regional considerations for an out year.
Thank you.
Other questions?
All right, this roll call.
This is well, I think we need a motion first, so. All right, motion has been made.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor? Oh, no
Aye.
votes. Vote. All right, so hold on, we gotta do a roll call. Sorry, Kevin.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Trevette. Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Winfrey.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Hudson.
Aye.
Enrico County, Mr. Nelson.
All right,
Powhatan County, Mr. Donati.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mayor Avula.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Motion passes.
all right, great, thank you.
Thank you all so much.
All right, let's keep rolling. Wayfinding plan, updated standards.
Yes, sir. Page 15 is a quick staff report. A little bit of a history for those of us who may not have been in the room at the time. The fall-on wayfinding plan was developed and adopted by the Cvta. The Cvta also set aside some interest income, a small amount for implementation of that plan, which means supporting locality construction, design and construction, fabrication of signage and wayfinding materials for the entire length of the trail. As we have moved through construction and opening of segments of the trail, we are now working with our locality members to reimburse for wayfinding, installation, and costs. As Hanover County has started to dive in the deep end for their implementation of wayfinding signage, a couple of we'll call it not issues, but a couple of highlights of the wayfinding design came to the attention of county staff, and Mr. Badunas and his team, I think rightfully asked for some demo signage to be developed so that it could be reviewed by myself, the town of Ashland, Hanover County, as well as sports backers to see if there was some wiggle room and opportunity for refinement of the design standards. So what is included in the packet today, starting on page 16, is a thorough review and recommendation of a couple of updates to the signage that highlights opportunities for improvement, especially in the areas of maintenance and upkeep around the signage and better wayfinding all the way around. The requested action today, and this has been through TAC consideration multiple times. The requested action is for the Cvta approving updated wayfinding design standards. And I would say that there will be at least one more round of requests for updating standards as we move into fabrication and construction of signage for the southern part of the trail. There are a couple of different signage types that are not present in Hanover that may need additional scrutiny as well. So TAC is aware of that and ready for that that discussion when the time comes. Mr. Chair, Mr. Badunas is here. If there's any additional question on the specifics of the design, I think he's more than willing to try and answer any questions.
All right, so let's see if there are any questions first. So it's gone through TAC a couple times. Any committee? Did we have any committee discussion?
Technical committee. Just
Okay, so it's just TAC. Anybody have any questions? All right, well, we don't, I know you're ready, but if we don't have, you know, yeah, let's, I think a voice vote, even though I know it says roll call, I think we are pretty good on this one. So, all in favor, we're moving forward with the wayfinding plan, update the standards, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so it passes unanimously. Oh, I'm sorry. Who, did we do a motion? No, did I get, I must say get a second. Did I?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, give me a motion. All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, so you, yeah. Mr. Mayor, I think down here, yes. All right, so I think we good. All right, updated CVTA revenue estimates, page 28. We need to do another one.
Just to make short processes.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right.
I'm an I.
Okay.
Okay, yes, sir. The next item is item B3. This is on page 28, the updated CVTA revenue estimates. This is an item that has passed through committees. Essentially, each year at the end of the calendar year, we get updated tax revenue estimates from VDOT as well as the Department of Taxation. These revenue estimates are essentially projections for the next 6 years on both our sales and use tax revenues as well as the fuels tax revenues, which are the two main revenue sources that drive the ability of the CVTA to make things move forward. Using these projected revenues, CVTA staff can develop projections for local transit and regional distributions, so that 50, 35, and 15 percentage points. And then in addition, staff can project the annual regional revenue contribution by locality based on these forecasted tax revenues. These revenue estimates are used to develop the baseline level of available funding for regional project allocations such as the round 4 that is under consideration, both this meeting and next. The requested action is to accept the 2026 revenue estimates from VDOT and incorporate them into the round 4 regional funding scenario. I will say, as you look through the communication on page 29 and 30, as well as the CVTA manipulated projections on page 31, we had more detailed discussion at Finance Committee that related to seeking more understanding on the change in forecasts, which are shown on page 30. If you refer there, you can see that over time, the local sales tax is projected to actually decrease out through FY 2032, while the fuels tax is projected to increase. I'm in discussion with VDOT, the CFO, as well as she's talking with the Department of Taxation to get more background on why those projections are the way they are. At this point, I think I have had some responses, but we're still seeking further clarification on a couple things. I think the primary one is, why are we showing a decrease in the sales tax and an increase in the fuels tax? If there was I think that the Finance Committee discussion was, if there is a general downturn in spending, would you not see similar trends on both of those revenues? So we're just trying to get some more background for the authority to make those decision points. I think at this point, Mr. Chair, my recommendation is to still accept the estimates, and if we do receive clarification that necessitates a change in these estimates, we can always reaccept or readopt as those changes are necessary. But right now, we want some kind of certainty as we start to talk about round 4 and approving those project allocations. So we'd like this foundation to be in place.
Mr. Chair,
I know one question. Yes, sir.
Jeff, do you have a turnaround time on your feedback that you're expecting?
As soon as we can get it, yes, sir. I'm happy to provide updates, especially to the Finance Committee, via email once I get those. I'm sure we'll probably have it on our agenda for the February 10th or 11th meeting of the Finance Committee.
Other questions? I know, so let's we talked about this in finance, and so we'll continue to get an update, but let's try to see if we can move forward on decision with updated revenue estimates for where we are right now. Is there a motion to accept the 2026 CVTA revenue estimates from VDOT and incorporate them into round 4?
So move, with you in fact get a further explanation of that, because that,
Yes, sir.
it does defy logic. Where that movement is, but anyway. The gas costs are coming down. So the percentage applied to a lower per gallon cost would think, apparently the usage is going way up to offset that. That move.
Yes, sir.
Second.
All right, so moving in second. All right, now let's go to some discussion. Yes, sir.
Certainly support what Chet had indicated. We will certainly follow up with any additional information and details that we can provide. Or we'll target that for prior to the Finance Committee meeting in February. What we do have yesterday was an indication that we were asked to share that it's important to note that spending is not expected to decrease. It's just the rate of increase is expected to be a little bit less than what it had been projected to be prior.
Or sales tax?
Correct. Also, these are projections done through the Department of Taxation. We, as VDOT, pass them along to folks that need to have that. They're not actually developed by VDOT. We will certainly look to get any additional information that may be helpful to you prior to the Finance Committee meeting. But they did ask that we pass along that one little clarification. It's not actually a decrease in spending, it's a decrease in the rate of increase. So, but again, we'll bring any additional updates prior to the Finance Committee meeting.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yep.
And Today you represent VDOT.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? There's already been a motion and a second. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Trevette.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Understood your information.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Winfrey.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Hudson.
Aye.
Henrico County, Mr. Nelson.
All right.
Powhatan County, Mr. Donati.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mayor Avula.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. It was 10 seconds. Okay. All right, we're moving to still under new business, final round 4 regional application scorecards.
Yes, sir. This is a very detailed staff report on page 32, outlining essentially this is the process that the authority follows to evaluate and recommend projects for each round of regional funding. This is contained in the adopted regional allocation framework, which is available on our website. It's the process that is used for all regional application consideration. The purpose of this agenda item is to provide detail about the applications that were received for round 4 and the scoring that each application was assigned based on the adopted process. So in the background, I'm just going to review quickly. We have a funding cycle every 2 years. There are certain types of projects that are eligible for regional funding, and those fall into 7 different categories: highway, bicycle, pedestrian, transit, multimodal, bridge studies, and preliminary engineering only. There is a screening process that is used, so that essentially means that each application has to have a lot of background information provided, so that we can have some certainty that the projects are, ready to move forward in whatever phase they are presented, and the funding will be used in a timely manner. We do have a cost benefit scoring process that is essentially done using 2 means. One is our travel demand model through our partners at the Richmond Regional Transportation Planning Organization. And then we also do a geo-based analysis using geographic information systems that is related to proximity and buffering and more map-based analysis. On page 34 are the actual factors that go into consideration for each project. And they are in 3 different categories for highway, bike ped, studies, and PE only: safety, mobility, and accessibility. This is something that was decided by the authority back in 2020 when it was started and the framework was first established. Transit projects also have an additional factor relating to connection to activity centers. So where a lot of the density activity, employment, jobs, housing, where those centers are around the region, there's an additional factor for transit. And then bridge scoring is a separate scoring factor that is related to state of good repair. Project selection is something that is done at the end of the scoring, and it's based on the revenue forecast that this body just accepted. And it is unique to the different project type. So highway projects, based on the number of applications and the scale of those applications, have a certain amount of funding that is available for those. And it goes down the list through each different project category that is all based on the applications received. Using all of that information, on page 36 is the summary of scoring that is done for each project type. The first page 36 is the summary. So it shows the top part is the revenue forecasts, and this is based on those revenue estimates that were provided by VDOT and Department of Taxation. And then based on the applications received, the scoring for each different category. It shows the subsequent pages starting on page 37 is a summary of the applications received under each category. The first one would be the bike ped category. Page 38 shows the bridge category, et cetera, et cetera. Those are all shown with the scoring based on the metrics in the pink, green, and yellow columns, and then the scoring based on the cost benefit. And finally, the last column that says within funding limit shows those projects that would be eligible for funding just based on the data-driven process. So once we follow the framework and apply the cost and the benefit to each project, the amount of funding available in each category, this shows if we just went by the scoring process, which projects would be eligible to receive funding at this time. So the scorecards are the foundation for our project evaluation process. And I think that is something that we do need to make sure is considered. It's essentially the basement for consideration. This is what we want to have everything built on. And this is the information that we would like to use as we go out for public review ahead of the February 27th Cvta, the next authority meeting. Using this information, we then go into developing the projected allocations, which I'll review in the next section. But I think the final thing to note, and the chair mentioned this earlier, based on the criteria and the framework in each category, if we cannot fully fund a project, there are going to be, more often than not, unallocated funds in each category. So the next project up in the scoring process, if we cannot fully fund it based on our framework, that funding will be available and unallocated. So at this point, we are looking at just over 48 million in unallocated funds that span the entire 7 category list. And that is something that is up for consideration by the authority as we move towards a potential public hearing at the end of February. There are options that the TAC has developed that I think are still in development. There is another option that is being discussed at this point. We think that the process to follow is the one that has been adopted by the authority, which is these types of options be considered by the TAC, and because it is finance related, go through the finance committee with both of them potentially making recommendations for consideration by the authority at large. So if it is this is listed as an information item, if it is the will of the body, staff would be supportive of these options for unallocated funds being considered by the TAC again at its February 9th meeting. That is in advance of our requested public hearing dates or public review dates. So there would be time for TAC to make a consideration of this and provide any recommendations for the authority to consider.
I've got a question. Show my lack of knowledge. If in the finance committee, I know some of them were relatively close, a couple of them were close, but they didn't meet the threshold, so they got kicked down and the money finished unallocated. Do we ever consider giving the municipality the opportunity to make up that difference, they shortfall, cause it to happen?
I think that's a great question, Mr. Winfrey. I think that is based on I'm coming at it from the CVTA perspective. Based on our framework, we don't make recommendations to fund a project unless it fully funds the project to move it forward. I think that part of those options, if I recall correctly, there is an option to partially fund or find another way to move that forward. So I think that if it's the will of the body, I think that's something that we can certainly discuss at the time.
All right, I mean, I think we need to take that in consideration and with TAC and finance as we move forward and look at options, particularly in the future. Yep. Any other questions? We did there is consideration for a fifth option that I'm gonna ask that TAC consider. And there's some projects that the future funding actually may not be available. So if some projects are defunded, then we can revise some unallocated funding added to and then expand. But I agree that it probably needs to go to TAC and just be considered with the other four options. And so I know I talked to a couple of folks that are in agreement with that. So any other questions? All right, well, that was information. So Chet's gonna keep the conversation going. Round 4 draft allocation. Unless
Mr.
what?
Chair, can I recommend a motion to direct TAC to consider the 5 options?
So do I need to go into detail with the fifth option?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I move that that TAC consider the fifth option in its evaluation of unallocated funds projects. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, moving a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do I need a roll call or voice? Is voice fine? All right, all in favor, y'all sound kind of weak with that, so. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
It's that second.
The second was from who?
Mr. Hudson from Hanover.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. All right, we move to round 4 draft allocation plan. That's page 44.
Yes, sir. This is an information item as well. So we've all just refreshed our memories on the scorecard. So we have a potentially a list of projects that would be funded in round 4. The next step would be to develop a draft allocations plan. That is what is contained on page 45, the table you see there. And what this does is essentially list all of the regional projects in the lifetime of the CVTA that have been supported through the regional funding, through that 35%. And what it does is it programs in round 4 in addition to the first 3 rounds and applies a year of allocation from FY27 through FY32 of that regional funding so that each project can move forward on a timeline that meets the schedule that has been set up by the locality or through VDOT if it's a VDOT administered project. What this does is shows the commitments of the authority for that 35%, and it's actually assigned to a year. So we would know at any one time following an adoption of round 4 how much money is being applied to a project in any particular fiscal year, as well as the balance that may be available for offsets of inflation, et cetera, as needs arise. There is a process to follow in terms of the order of allocations. That's in the staff report. And then Mr. Chair mentioned possible projects that would be eligible for deallocation. This was a discussion that happened at TAC and Finance as well. I think a little bit more detailed at Finance Committee. There are 3 projects. We do have, again, another process that CVTA follows for considering projects that aren't moving forward at the rate or the expected timeline that they were presented initially. There are a number of I guess checkboxes to look at on whether a project is moving forward or not. With the goal being CVTA does not in general want money to be sitting on a project that may not be moving forward for whatever reason that might be. And all it does, if you identify a project as eligible to cancel, then that initiates a further discussion. It does not mean that project is going to be canceled or that funding is going to be pulled. It just means that staff need to have further discussion with the locality to understand, the details and the approach that locality has for making that project whole and how to pull that off. So it really identifies a need for further discussion, but those are the three projects that have met that criteria are identified in peach on page 45. So that is just at this point an information item and a flag for staff to follow up with this initially with TAC members. Again, Mr. Chair, this is an information item. Happy to take any questions, but this would eventually be part of this will be the final approval of the authority. Following any round 4 project discussions would be to actually officially adopt the allocations plan after the round 4 decisions are done.
All right, so I know the West Broad Street is Henrico, Forest Hill is Richmond, Bowen Road is where? Ashland, okay. All right, anyone have any questions about this? All right, thank you, Chair. One more, number 6.
Yes, sir. This is an action item. That we put it on the agenda in this order so that you have the background leading up to this. This is a requested action to set the public hearing for round 4 regional project funding. As you have heard this morning and discussed, there are a number of moving parts, but we want to make sure that there is adequate and proper time for the public to review projected project allocations, as well as the entire set of applications that were received by the Cvta. This has gone through both the TAC and the Finance Committee. What we would like to do today is to set the public hearing for the FY 27 through 32 regional revenue funding scenario, and set that public hearing for February 27th, 2026 at 9 a.m. As part of that process, we would issue a press release that details the action that is going to be considered on the 27th, as well as a candidate project listing. And at this time, the recommendation is to use the project listing that is contained in the packet, which is essentially the staff recommended scenario following the data-driven project review and assignment. It does not consider where the unallocated funds will go yet. It does not consider any changes that this body would make following the public hearing, but it does provide information on all the potential projects that could be funded so that the public has that information when we get to our decision point at the end of February.
Sure. So if it's not addressing the unallocated dollars, does that, at whatever point we decide how we're gonna handle that, does that then require a second public hearing?
No, sir.
Okay.
No. That's a great point, and that will be a discussion item for the TAC and the Finance Committee in February, I'm sure. And those meetings and recordings are public information, so we would certainly want to make any outcomes of those committee recommendations available for public information as well. But all of that would still build to the same public review period.
Okay, thanks.
All right, good question, Mr. Mayor. Any other questions? So TAC meets in a couple of weeks and then finance after that.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll have the public hearing. And if after public hearing, we feel like there needs to be more discussion with the public, we'll set up another meeting and stuff. All right, anybody have any questions? This is a roll call vote.
I'll make a motion.
All right, thank you, sir.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Time for the roll call vote.
Town of Ashland, Mr. Trevette.
Aye.
Charles City County, Mr. Patterson.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Richland County, Mr. Winfrey.
Aye.
Minever County, Mr. Hudson.
Aye.
Henrico County, Mr. Nelson.
All right,
Tan County, Mr. Donati.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mayor Bula.
Aye.
New Kent County, Mr. Moyer.
Aye.
Commonwealth Transportation Board, Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Reports, Mr. Moyer.
Yes, sir. As was said about background, I'll give you a little background of the Finance Committee meeting. What we discussed in the last, all the new business is what we went over as a committee. What came out of that meeting was a discovery that our delegate, Scott Wyatt, had put through a bill for changing the funding for GRTC and our Bay Transit. It was discovered at that meeting. Chet was able to hand us the synopsis of the bill. And I know I didn't like getting blindsided by that sheet of paper on showing that. And we've taken that up to our delegate and asked for any kind of what his thinking of, who discussed it with them, and why that bill was brought up. And we have not received that information yet, but we do know that that bill has been terminated, is not going through. And I just want to personally apologize to anybody with GRTC but it's our delegate, and somewhere he figured it would be benefit to us. And it was the wording, the numbers were completely out of line. And so I just wanted to mention that to this committee. And sorry about as I'm sure Reverend Nelson is going to be bringing up that we got to talk about these things outright. And it should have been discussed before in this body, in the Finance Committee body, and the TAC. And outside of that, I want to make sure I'd say what a great job the TAC has done to get us to this point with all the allocations and non-allocation stuff. That's my committee report.
All right. Thank you. And actually, I wasn't gonna bring it up. Yeah, you don't owe us an apology. You didn't know, and I trust that, and we've been, all of us have been working hard to learn more, and it's killed. So that's what happens. Bills are brought up, they either live or die. So thank you for sharing that. Did you want to say something, sir?
Just commend Chet for catching it, and it indicates that.
Was it me?
I was about to say, did you catch it, Chet?
No,
Don't put that on him.
Chad, I won't forget.
So what I'm saying is just, it points out the importance of monitoring what's going on over there. So we need to make sure we do that on an ongoing basis.
Mr. Chair, I think this is a good example of the collaboration that this body experiences, because I received notifications from at least 3 different people that the bill was in play, and that was before I had any awareness of it. So thank you all for communication.
All right, you want to say anything about the investment report?
Just quickly, this is your update on page 60 and 61. I don't think there's much to say on the investment report. Things are moving forward as expected with interest rates. I will say that the current amount of interest income, which you can see on page 60 in the really small fonts in the green boxes, is currently a little over $15 million. So that is something that will be used as the action dictated today for supporting the City of Richmond's off-cycle request, but there will still be a balance to continue to grow even after that request is fulfilled. So I think we're in good shape with our finances at this point.
All right, any questions about that? Yes, sir, Mr. Moore.
One thing that we discovered, I should have brought this under my foot. What we discovered during the Finance Committee is the numbers that we're dealing with in the percent and the cent per gallon are different than what we had thought before, because there's a sliding scale. And Check, could you elaborate on that?
Absolutely, and this goes back to the revenue estimates that we received from Department of Taxation, and I'm going to defer to Mr. Davis if he wants to wax poetically on this, but the the legislation, the code says that the fuels taxes we receive were initially a certain amount, 7.6, 7.7 cents per gallon back in 2020. Those are actually indexed. And as those revenues are received year over year, those amounts are indexed for inflation. So we're actually currently, I think it's around 9.5%, or 9.5 cents for the fuels tax income. So those continue to rise. That may, Mr. Riblet, have something to do with the fuels tax increases. So I think that's something that we're certainly going to keep track of and look at.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, since we harken back to that, I do want to point out that on the sales tax estimate, our current base is 174 million to 176 million and contained in last year's estimate and this year's revised. So, and this base is going to grow, it's going to continue to grow in the December forecast, $220 million of sales tax. And for the November 25 forecast, it's going to grow to $214 million of sales tax. So I know when we look at the far right column, we say there's a decrease, but the December forecast is projecting sales tax to grow at 26% between now and the out year, the last out year of 2032. And so the November forecast goes from 176 million to 214 million. That's a 21%. So I think they're saying we're headed, the trajectory is bottom left to up right. It may not be growing as fast as what originally was projected back a year ago. So, but growth is occurring in this number. I think it's important to point out because I know we get wrapped up in the last column when we look at that and say, why is sales tax going down? Actually, sales tax is going dramatically higher over the course of the next 6 years based on this forecast. So just a clarification point. We will dig in. We're trying to get more information. We'll report back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, let's move on to the TAC report.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a whole lot to add in addition to what has already been discussed today. TAC did meet several times between your last meeting. The focus of most of the focus of our discussions have been centered around the wayfinding signage and tweaks to that signage, and that's continuing. And then also the round 4 allocations and discussions again that will be continuing based upon your action today. So that's really it. I'm happy to answer or take questions about more specifics, but that's my report.
Thanks, sir. Any questions? We'll make sure you get that option 5 so that you can share that with your committee.
Yes, I do have that.
All right,
Thank
okay.
you.
All right, thanks. All right, Chad, are there any agency reports from Plan RVA or TPO?
Yeah, there's a link in the agenda if anybody wants to dive in deeper.
All right, CVTA member comments. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just wanted to mention, we had wayfinding earlier in our agenda. And just want to say that Ashland has just about completed the Fall Line Trail head sculpture in the library plaza. And I guess I'll say 90% complete, but just want to say appreciate all the investment across the board in the Fall Line Trail. And we're happy to be doing this one that's Ashland themed and outside of the dollars from Cvta. But thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes.
Question, with Governor Hashmi's move from Senate to the LG spot, how does reappointment there work and when might that happen?
We'll get an appointment from the Senate.
Okay.
And it usually, I'm not sure what will happen during the session, but it'll be in the next month or two.
Okay. And Delegate Cousin stays?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. I want to share this. I want this to go on record. Well, 2 things. First of all, not the bill that Mr. Moyer was talking about address transportation needs in Charles City and New Kent. And though the bill also would have negatively impacted GRTC, we understand that the needs in Charles City and New Kent still are there. So hopefully whatever we can do as an organization, to try to, help the residents in those communities, let's see what we can do. And then second, colleagues, I added up the time on the agenda. This should have been a 1 hour, 150-minute meeting. That's 2.5 hours. It is now 10:10. I want you to thank me later. I've been back an hour and 10 minutes. All right? Yep. All right, any other questions? All right.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, you can, if you want me to participate remotely from now on, so the meetings will be short, I'll be happy.
Hey, something to do with it, Kevin.